Welcome to Uncaged, a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're speaking with Christian Sorensen. Hey, Christian, how are you?
Hey, Ben. I'm great. Happy Thursday to you as well.
I'm excited to learn more about what you're doing. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity here today. Christian is the founder and CEO of SightGain cybersecurity readiness platform, the first cybersecurity technology that tests and measures readiness using real-world attack simulations in your live environment. And so it sounds really interesting and certainly something that is needed today when we read about new cybersecurity challenges. It seems like almost every couple of hours. So, Christian, great to have you on the show. But before we get there, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Ben, and thanks for having us on today. And really excited to talk to you. So, my background's in the military as far as kind of formative years in working offensive and defensive cyber operations, right? So, being ready to defend against those techniques that are being used against us has been part of kind of my background for the last 20 years, and really started to see some opportunities to help organizations prepare for those and preparation and seeing what you're not ready for and helping you understand what you're missing is what we're all about, but then making that better, right? Like being able to know that you're ready to go and prepared for the threats that you face. That's what SightGain is all about.
Excellent. Well, I mean, SightGain is really part of this new category of products. I think you guys call it threat exposure management. Tell me a little bit about what that is.
Yeah. So really briefly, there's a number of techniques in the hundreds and variations of those, in the thousands of techniques that adversaries use, malicious actors use to get access to your computers and gain access to data, do bad things, ransomware and all that kind of stuff. That is the threat that's out there. So our approach in the category threat exposure management is understanding whether those threats will work, whether you're exposed to those threats, and whether your tools and technology and people are working to protect, defend, respond to those threats. And then if not, where, why, and what to do about it. How do we get better at defending ourselves when that time comes, if those malicious actors come and target us?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly needed. And, one of the challenges, though, Christian, is when you look out into the cybersecurity space, you got a lot of folks that use that buzzword, but it's unclear as to what they're actually doing, what their platform is versus others. Tell me a little bit about how your platform operates and how does it differ from the thousands of others that are out there?
Yeah. So I like to use the analogy, a medical analogy of an MRI machine, right? So back in the olden days, we had doctors that kind of looked at your body and made guesses about what was going on or what was working, what wasn't. And then we had x-rays. The next evolution was x-rays to say, hey, we think you might have a bone that's broken here. Let's do an x-ray and see if that looks like what's going on. So some of the penetration testing and breach and attack sort of simulations that are out there are kind of like x-rays. And then take it a step further as an MRI. An MRI looks at not just your skeletal system, but all of the things that are in there to protect your body, to keep it together and to work. That's what SightGain is. So we're not a security solution. We're going to test your solutions and tell you what's working, what's not against all of the different threats that you face, right? So your body's trying to fight off viruses. So are organizations, right? So we're like an MRI machine that's going to tell you, are you prepared? And if not, where is it? Where is it? Your circulatory system, your respiratory system? What's not working across your firewalls, your big data platforms, your endpoints and antivirus, all the things that you're spending this time and money to have work together? is it working together? Is it stopping it? We're going to test in an automated way and take those results to help you understand where you're exposed, what that exposure means in financial terms, and then really help you understand what to do about it. Does it take some tuning or engineering work, or is it something where you need to consider a whole new investment, right? So that's this idea of there's 3,000 companies in the marketplace. Which ones are working to actually stop the threats? Which ones are working? And it's really time to look at the empiric data, time to look at the MRI and figure out what's working, what's not. That's where we're going to help you understand and help you focus.
Now, I mean, certainly there are new threats every day and different types of threats. And that's, I would say, probably from an intellectual level, that probably makes your life really interesting, right? It's always trying to figure out, like, how do we prepare for the next thing? And I love that. But at times we find these threats go in cycles. Are there certain things that are perhaps more prevalent right now that people should be more worried about than others?
Yeah, so it does go in cycles. And this is what we're seeing a lot is two things. One is what's old is new again or never went away, really. So people and malicious actors continue to use what's worked in the past. So that's one thing, is let's make sure you're protected and you're stopping those things that are being used. And then the most recent things are continuing to be ransomware and kind of novel sort of ways of getting in, of new steps, new techniques that even if you don't stop that initial one, you need to be ready with your other defenses to make sure that they, even if that one works, that they're stopped and the other.
I mean, they're so sneaky. I saw that one of my profiles had been copied, picture for picture, word for word, except they changed my profile and added an extra letter to my name. And it was daunting to see how similar it was. So yeah, I mean, you really have to kind of use and work with a solution like yours to make sure that you're ready for when these challenges hit. But Christian, we've lived through a crazy moment together, my friend. The last 3 years, I don't think any of us expected the world to have gone through that period, as well as really to see the profound change it's had. I feel like it's a major break from the past. But tell me a little bit about how the pandemic and I guess the new economic cycle that's really sprung from that, how's that impacted you guys and the way you do things?
Yeah. And I'll use a quote I heard yesterday, which is you're building your company. When you're building your company, there's a micro environment and a macro environment. I think for us, the pandemic really enabled us without reservation to work remotely, right? So all of our team is spread out across the United States, but so not to be afraid to hire somebody that's living not where you are, right? Like, so that's been a good thing in terms of how we're building the company, but everybody's getting more digital. Everybody's online. Everybody's, working remote at least some of the time, it seems like. So being able to protect against that is really fundamental to how most organizations work now. So that's really been a big change. And then on the future side of it, where things are going is right now the economy is not great. So what we're seeing is a lot of requests for help us figure out what we can get rid of, right? Like, we've made investments in security solutions, and it seems like we have too many, but we don't know what we can get rid of. So that's where SightGain can come in and say, all right, you have 2 of these, one of them is not actually doing anything. You can probably get rid of that one. Or let's evaluate your overall portfolio and figure out, can you cover this threat in a different way, and do that in an automated way, so it's not guessing anymore. It's not like, hey, we have to make a hard decision and I don't know what to do. We can help organizations figure out, here's the solutions that are actually contributing to your risk posture reduction. Here's the ones that are not, or are not very much, and then really make some trade-offs. So organizations can still be secure, but save money at the same time, optimize their overall spend.
I love that. I think that I would be one of those customers out there that would hear that and it'd be a welcome sound, because we all invested heavily in cybersecurity and we continue to. But you're nervous to actually make any changes, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah,
that's probably the one thing that you think, better keep that.
right.
That's probably the one where maybe if we have a little bit of extra, it's okay, right? But having that expertise to think about how to build it, and then really kind of, I'd say you're laying the foundation for that next phase where you can scale it even more. There's no doubt that the needs are going to continue to escalate, especially when we think about the lovely metaverse and all these
Yeah.
lovely Web3 things that are coming down the pike.
Yeah. We just think it's time that, as leaders consider what to get rid of or whatnot, they need to move beyond the doctor pre-X-ray and even the doctor with just an X-ray. Like, let's actually diagnose the system. Is it working for what we need it to do? We don't need to spend extra money, but we certainly want to make sure we have enough.
Yeah.
And that's really what SightGain enables, is that automated way to help leaders have confidence, not kind of like, I don't know, but actually know what works, what doesn't, and be able to balance that portfolio. That's been fun to see and fun to provide, because
Yeah.
it's so needed in the marketplace.
Absolutely. Well, Christian, as we sit here in early 2023, looking out towards this year, what's on the docket for you guys and what do you see in the marketplace?
Yeah, so I think what we're building is ways to use parts of SightGain faster and easier, right? So we have a pretty cool capability that's called Bake Off, right? So for cybersecurity professionals, they're often trying to figure out, all right, should I go with this antivirus or that antivirus or whatever product category? We have a way to automate the testing against those threats that are out there, so you can compare apples to apples. So we're making that as easy to use, easy to order, easy to get results as possible. And then that opens the door for a whole bunch of other insights that we can provide too. So that's kind of priority number one in terms of what we're bringing that's new. And then the other thing that we're excited about is our treatment of risk, being able to do more advanced Monte Carlo simulations, probabilistic forecasting, what if analysis that this kind of telemetry, this kind of data enables. There's a pretty clear path to making that much higher quality than the current solutions that are out there. So that's on the roadmap later this year as well.
That's great. Well, Christian, if someone wanted to learn more about what you and the SightGain team are up to, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so we're proud of our website. We just relaunched that to help articulate our value proposition, so you can find out about all of our current use cases there. And then we're pretty active on LinkedIn and Twitter as well, to really kind of check out. My LinkedIn feed is probably the most populated, but being able to really understand what difference we're making in the market, why is that important, and really engage the community, engage the marketplace of, does this matter, right? We can definitely add value, but making sure that value is worth it, and seeing what questions, what problems people really need solved.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like it's an interesting moment. We've been talking with Christian Sorensen. He's the founder and CEO of SightGain. SightGain is the first cybersecurity technology that tests and measures readiness using real-world attack simulations in your live environment. And we've been talking to him about what's happening in the cybersecurity market. They've certainly developed as a leader in the threat exposure management space. And you're seeing companies clearly think about their investments in cybersecurity, in some cases boost them, in some cases rationalize them, as we go into a year where we need to think through some of the decisions we're making from an economic perspective. But certainly you need an expert advice in that process. Christian, thank you so much for providing us a little background on the state of play, and we look forward to having you back.
All right, thanks, Ben. Appreciate your time and everything that you do.
Cheers.